Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Apostle Dr. Norma Gray. Apostle Dr. Norma Gray is very special because she was there firsthand when I went through my family court experience. Dr. Gray was right there helping me as I went through the storm. She stood alongside me, and as an advocate, she never silenced my voice. She only encouraged me. Welcome, Dr. Gray. Introduce yourself.
Well, hi, Evelyn. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest of your show. A lot of people know what I do. I've been an activist for 40 plus years. I earned the acknowledgement of Barack Obama administration for my years of service. I've served as the NAACP president and then also started my own social justice network. So it's a pleasure for me to be with you today.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm a part of the social justice organization that she's head of.
Absolutely.
Dr. Gray, let's dig into the family court crisis that's in South Carolina. You were there alongside with me. You stood beside me. You encouraged me. Let's talk about that if you don't mind. What's your opinion on the situation concerning family court in South Carolina?
Well, you pretty much gave me a firsthand introduction into specifically some of the issues that we face here in South Carolina. As a social activist, understanding the problems within the judicial system within itself is a problem. But when you and I connected, you really showed me through your case, or I learned through your case, the specifics of things that really need to change in South Carolina. You were pro se litigant. You were handling the case yourself, and when you and I connected through the NAACP, and you asked me, listen, will you go with me and be an advocate with me for a really huge court hearing? And we got dressed. You picked me up. We go, and I'm so excited to be able to be there, even if I didn't say anything, just to be an advocate for you. And immediately we were met with a roadblock from not only um, your um, your husband's attorney, but from the judge, and that was like totally surprising to me, and it felt like sabotage.
Family court in South Carolina is a closed court. So when they make their backdoor deals, they don't allow everybody to come into the courtroom. So that's what we actually experience.
Yeah, and I wasn't prepared for that. Being an advocate for as long as I have been, I've never been told no. I've never been not allowed to accompany a client or someone that's come to me for assistance to not be able to assist them. I've been given instructions like, well, you can't talk, you can't say anything, you can talk to the client, but you can't have any words. I was prepared for that, but the backdoor deal that was done and that day, how they cut you so short, I've never experienced anything like that until that day.
That's the norm for family court in South Carolina. That seems to be the norm.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because here's the real problem. When individuals find themselves, I mean, nobody signs up to say, hey, I want to be, someone, a plaintiff or, in a family court. Nobody wants to go to family court. And so it's a system that if you're not familiar with it, you don't know how to navigate it. Whether you be one who has to stand for their child or you're fighting for the rights of your child or you're the opposite. Maybe you're the parent being sued. It is a arduous task, and to not know how to navigate the system, many people are harmed because they don't understand what their rights are and how that court system is totally different from the other two court systems in South Carolina. After your case, Evelyn, I took a class that was offered at the university of how to understand the court systems in South Carolina, all three courts, how they operate, and family court is a totally separate entity guided by totally separate judicial laws. And many people have no idea of that when they find themselves being in a case that's been scheduled for family court.
I was just overwhelmed because being a survivor of domestic violence, I felt like the court just treated me like basically I was nothing at that time.
You know what? And you're right, Evelyn. Your case is very unique in that the way you found yourself there having to fight for your child's right and then fight for your own self. And that's something that I think a lot of people aren't prepared for. So if you're in a family court situation and you're advocating for your child's rights, yes, that's what we would expect. But in the same with the same token, you're also under scrutiny. You're also being put in jeopardy. Your whole life, everything that you do, everything you've ever done, comes under scrutiny. If I will tell you the thing that works now, one thing that works in all the court systems is the more money you got, the better it goes.
Well, after I paid out so much money, was I was served with the default order, and I was determined that it wasn't going to keep happening to me.
Absolutely. Your case, you had, hired attorneys to represent you, spent a lot of money to no avail. You took it on yourself, and everything that the court ordered you to do, you had to pay out of your pocket. And I think that that's something that people don't understand. If the court orders you to do something, maybe take a psychological exam, whatever they require you to do, that comes out of your pocket.
Yes.
And what was interesting to me about your case is that you had spent a lot of money to do these things and still was met with such resistance. And one of the things when we did the march, so, Evelyn, you brought me into the notification that your case was not unique, right? It was not just, this is happening to Evelyn. And you put me in touch with other women who were dealing with the same thing. And they organized this march, and you asked me to speak at the march. And in so doing, I wanted to find out what is the number one problem? What's the number one problem in a family court system in South Carolina? And one of the number one problems facing those in family court is the fact that some of the pro se litigants, judges, attorneys are all connected. And that's a problem if you don't understand that because you're thinking your attorney is there to represent you, only to find out that they're in connection with the judge, and the judge is then telling the guardian ad litem what they need to do with the child, and you show up in court looking for fair justice, and what you get is a deal that's already been done, and it's hard. Like it almost feels like you're the only player at the Super Bowl and it's just you and against all of the whole team of the 49ers. That's just not fair.
That's exactly how it felt. I mean, there was so much stress, but I would like to talk with you for a moment. You saw me in the beginning and you see me now. How was that transformation?
Oh my goodness. Listen, you and I have a relationship outside of, your court case. And one of the things that was so amazing to me as an advocate, people want help in the moment of what they're going through. Nobody expects to be arrested. Nobody expects to be sued. Nobody expects to be harassed. Nobody expects to be treated unfairly, right? And so when clients come to me, they expect, it to be immediate, be done with. They're not ready for the fight. The thing that really stood out with me is you would always tell me, Dr. Gray, I'm in it 10 toes, I'm down. When you first started, I was like, okay, I've heard this before. But Evelyn, you fought the good fight of faith. I mean, you fought through the anger. Yes, meeting the resistance made you feel angry and it made you feel upset, but you didn't let that stop you. You kept studying. You have grown leaps and bounds. I mean, you have such a platform, I believe now, to help so many people, not only with family court matters, but those who find themselves in being treated unfairly, unjustly, and looking for justice to tell them what it really means to stay in the fight because you did. You did not take no for an answer because you knew you were right. And that was such a motivation. I mean, your faith was a motivation for you. I mean, many times I can feel you, like I can feel the tears like right behind your eyeballs, tears ready to come. But you're like, no, I can't stop at the tear. I have to continue on until justice. And I hear the song until freedom rings. I just believe, and that was so good. That was, yeah. You are not the same Evelyn that met with me the very first time in that little teeny tiny room at the in that ATP office.
Thank you so much. It was a long time coming, and I can't believe that you and I are on this platform.
Evelyn, this listen, this is this is where you belong, right? It's really what it's about. Oftentimes when situations hit our lives, we don't really know, like, okay, God, what is this really about? Like, what is it, right? A lot of people will say, why is this happening to me? Like, this is happening to me. But you took this to say, okay, I am experiencing a part of a problem, and I just don't want to be a complainer and a crier about the problem. How can I be a solution and make a way for somebody else who comes behind me that will have an understanding better than I did, right? And which is one of
That
the
was
reasons
the
why I
whole
do what I do.
plan.
The knowledge that I have and the passion that I have only comes because nobody told me, nobody taught me. I had to learn and teach myself. And so what I want to do is I want to help navigate those waters for others and then pass that oar to the back and say, look, this is how you row these streams.
Dr. Gray, you were right. You are right. That was the whole plan. It was not about me, but I felt that if it had happened to me, it's happened to I don't know how many other people.
Yeah,
And
you're right. And you're fighting for your son. I mean,
number
and
one,
again, so you had two battles going on. You know, you're fighting for your own voice, your own freedom. Then you're met with this and that. Then you're fighting against the system. But there was a child. He was a child. So how old is
number
he
one.
now?
He's 21. The
See, that's
child
what
is
I'm talking about.
21.
That's how long you've been in. That's how.
Yes. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Oh
He's grown
no.
now.
I mean, listen. I mean, you wrote a book. You got interviews, and now your own show. Come on. That's how you walk out your victories. Even though even though you may not have what they would call the pot at the end of the rainbow, I can still celebrate the rainbow. Okay, now I didn't maybe I didn't get the pot of gold, maybe I didn't get all the money or whatever, but look, I can still celebrate the fact that listen, God put a sign in the sky of a
Amen.
rainbow and I can still celebrate the rainbow.
I've just stayed optimistic. My mind works the opposite of some people. When I see something really bad happening, or if I'm experiencing something really bad, I try to look at it from a positive standpoint to
Yes,
see how
and
I
you
can
certainly
turn
did that.
things around.
And you certainly did that. But the people that suffer the most are those that are the least educated about what their expectations should be. And the people that suffer the greatest are the children that are affected.
Wow. Hopefully, they can become educated about what's happening because of platforms like this and other platforms like Slam the Gavel. We're trying to educate the public on what's really happening in family court nationwide.
And yes, as we said, earlier, this is a larger problem. I always tell individuals if you want to help, right? Yes, this may be something that's happening nationally, but to look at what can you do to be a resolution locally. What does that look like? So maybe you're not facing a case in family court. But when we put it out there that there is a problem, listen, even though you're not having a case or an issue, but this is what's happening. So making people aware of the problem and then a call to action to what to do to address it. So addressing it with the solicitors, addressing it with, our representatives that this is a problem that's affecting your constituents. And even if a person is not experiencing it for themselves, they still can be an advocate to say, hey, this should not be happening, not in our state. This should not be happening, not in our county. This should not be happening. I don't have a child. I go to meetings for the school board. I don't have a child in the school system. My children are 40 and in their 30s. But the reason why I advocate for it is because if there's a problem and I got a voice, then I'm going to use it.
And you do it well too.
Thank you, Evelyn, and so do you. And you're
And you
such
are
a
appreciated.
yeah, you're such a beacon. You're such an example of a person that found themselves in a situation that, would rather not have been in, but this is what it takes. And I'm glad about that. And I'm glad that you have this platform to be able to share with others. This is what you do if you find yourself up against a situation in family court. You just can't give up because you're the perfect example of what it looks like, right? Sometimes we say, well, what does that look like? How does that play out? You are the example of what it looks like when you're faced with injustices, particularly in the family court system. The fight looks like this. It looks like Evelyn Hemphill. That's what it looks like.
Thank you.